Hey everyone, you're listening to the Tudor Dixon Podcast, and I have my friend Jaco Booyens with me today. There's so much that we are going to talk about. He works to fight sex trafficking in the United States and really all around the world. But he's just such a diverse guy. He's got such an interesting background. And Jaco, thank you so much for joining me. We were just talking about South Africa. There is so much to talk about today.
Yeah, Tudor, thank you. You are one of my favorites, all-time favorites. You are a class act, and you're not afraid. You're brave, and you talk about the tough stuff. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming on, because you are obviously doing the tough work. And I think this is something that we talk about sex trafficking in this country a lot. And there are times when, like this Sean Combs, the Diddy sex trafficking trial are going on, when we say, okay, this is suddenly a lot more real. We're seeing someone that we all grew up with. And I think growing up with him as this kind of pop icon, people thought they looked up to him, and now we're seeing this dirty, ugly side of things. It's almost like the unraveling of American culture. As you saw politics unravel with COVID, the music moguls unravel with this. We're starting to see the under the dirty underbelly of all of these Hollywood and politics at the same time, aren't we?
100%. It's akin to Hollywood. When you look at the Al Pacinos of the world, the Robert De Niro's of the world, and in their later semi-senile state, they start speaking the truth in their heart, and you go, wait a minute, these were our champions. These are the guys we followed. These are the folks that we, built culture around. And it should be a reflective season for America. We should understand that God saved this nation November 5th. He gave us grace and an opportunity to take territory. This is not a time to sit down and relax and have victory laps. And we need to reflect. You have to look back to understand where you misstepped before you go forward, because we've made some big mistakes. We championed the wrong people. We rallied around them. We allowed them to take territory. We allowed certain sects of culture to raise our kids, to shape language and culture, to infiltrate the church. And the net result is always going to be people getting hurt. I say this all the time. Once a child is trafficked, society failed the child. So if you think of P. Diddy, I call him Sean Combs because that's his name. I'm not going to placate to all these other rap symbols and whatever. Sean Combs was funded, supported, underwritten by record label executives when he was just a 20-something-year-old. Bad Boy Records didn't just poof explode. They made him. They funded him. The freak-off parties were incentivized and funded. We need to start asking questions of some of the cigar club music moguls like the Clive Davises of the world, and start saying to these guys, hey, this guy grew up under your wing. What did you guys see? Because someone always sees Tudor.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think you make a great point. Now people can just kind of blow up for a single on the internet. But back then you had to have someone really buy you into the industry, and buying you into the industry could really destroy that person. It was not about you personally. It's a whole nother thing. I mean, we look at Justin Bieber and what we're seeing we've kind of seen all of our childhood role models, for lack of a better term, music role models falling apart. I mean, when I was growing up, it was Madonna, but when I was in college, that was when we started seeing Britney Spears, and then after that, Justin Bieber, and these kids, like Britney Spears had started on Disney. And now both, you kind of have these similar mental breakdowns when it comes to Britney Spears and Justin Bieber. And that doesn't just happen from fame. Something else happened.
No, the pressure is insurmountable. Remember, my sister Ilanka was trafficked in the music business. She was trafficked by a record label executive. I mean, this is a story we know very well. I say this, any human being can be sexually exploited. If predators know your greatest need and your greatest desire, they will play those two ends to the middle. So these kids have this great desire to use their gift, a God-given gift, talent, and then the labels deliver. They deliver. They give the record deal. The limos show up. They go to the show, but you pay the piper. And contractually in those contracts, they don't own their name. They don't own their likeness. They don't own their masters. Then it becomes very easy to silence somebody.
Well,
All
I mean,
you do
look,
at
we
that
saw
point,
that with Taylor Swift when all of her
right?
music was taken from her.
Exactly.
But it wasn't really even discussed then. It was like, she's such a hero that she re-recorded all this and she took it all back. But there should be considered almost a crime in there. Why are we allowing these people to own people?
Yeah, they own people and likeness. And for someone who comes from nowhere and then makes it, air quotes, right? They dub them, they own their lives. The pressure, even like on my sisters, will take your career, will hurt your family. This is why you're seeing witnesses disappear. This is why you're seeing people saying, I want to speak up. The trial, in my opinion, is not going well. It's not
What do you
going
mean?
well.
Tell me what you mean by that.
By now, we should have had very strong argument that this is absolutely solidified as a sex trafficking case. Remember, for 18 and over in the court of law, you have to prove force, fraud, coercion to make it a sex trafficking case. Now it's docketed as a sex trafficking case, right, under force, fraud, coercion. But this case is slowly fading into sexual abuse, sexual swinger lifestyle. I mean, and what do they always do? To silence other survivors, you discredit the key witness, which is Cassie in this case. That's what they did with Virginia Giuffre. They go back in her history, they discredit her, that she's a liar. All of a sudden, all other voices disappeared. No one wants to come out and put their life on the line if they don't think there's going to be absolute justice. So I don't like where the case is at the moment. I, by now, wanted to see children being brought into the conversation, allegedly exploited, but definitely present at the parties. Usher spoke of it openly as a teenager, that he was there. Justin was there.
But Justin's coming out now and saying, I wasn't a victim. And that we talked about that this morning here in the office, because I was like, isn't it strange that now he's trying to say this is not, I wasn't a part of this, and is it embarrassment? But I mean, you probably have a lot more insight to that, but I have been watching as they've said, oh, she wanted to be a part of these parties. She enjoyed it. She just doesn't like how it turned out. And, every woman has heard, well, you just didn't like what happened and now you're turning on that and you're mad about it. But these people were drugged. They were, the average person who, let's face it, I'm a Midwestern girl. I listen to this and I think, who walks into this party? Who walks into this party? But once you're in there, I can also see that you are in a bad situation. You don't know how to handle it. I don't even know how to.
Tudor, we just have to follow the law. It's not rocket science. It's force, fraud, coercion. So you line them up. Anybody that was there. But
the average person doesn't know the law. They don't know what you know.
They don't know that. But for those, it's like, under what pretense did you come to the party? I came to the party because Sean told me if I come and I drink and I sleep with that guy, he'll lay down 16 bars on my record tomorrow. There's testimonies of this. There's testimonies of artists saying, I had to do this for him to sing on my record, and he promised me it would be released, and then it was shelved and it wasn't released. They take their careers and their future and their talent, and they dangle it like a carrot, then they exploit it. It is trafficking of persons. It's exploitation. Either debt bondage, servitude, or straight up trafficking. I want this case at this moment to have a lot more heat.
Why is it so different from if you're an adult than if you're under 18? Because
under
really,
18, we don't have to prove force, fraud, or coercion. Do not even have to prove it. If there was sexual relations with a minor, the minor's a victim. Don't have to prove that the minor's a victim.
But by that rationale, and I agree with that, but by that rationale, you can start doing this to somebody at 18. You're still very vulnerable. You're still a child at that point. You could do this to somebody at 18 and then you ruin their life.
This is why predators love that 14 through 16 year age gap, because girls are in puberty. 17 and under is a minor in sex trafficking law, 18 over an adult. And then literally the child ages out of legal protection. Imagine this. We just rescued a 17-year-old 2 weeks ago, okay? She is 2 weeks away from aging out of protection. Today, she's a victim. At 12 o'clock midnight, when the clock strikes, the law looks at her as prove you're a victim. By the change of adult, the predators know this. They groom them when they're young. But in the music business, Tudor, film, music, sport, you should see the amount of trafficking in sport. I'm on an international council right now, preparing America for the Soccer World Cup coming because of the amount of trafficking that's going to come to this country in 2026 because of the Soccer World Cup. Qatar was a nightmare. It's passion and dreams and hopes, and they exploit it. And so Sean Combs, if he goes away, should go away for life. He cannot go down by himself, Tudor. People paid. People exploited women under the influence. I had a former business executive from Sean's team walk into my office when he got arrested and said, "Can you help us? Investors are losing their minds." And I said, "I'm going to help get you guys arrested." I mean,
why would you help them?
And he's like, "We're not part of the trafficking stuff, but we're going to lose our brands. We're going to lose our shirt." I said, "Hey, one of the liquids you sell, he used to drug girls with. I mean, you know, but this is it's a web." And yet again, like Weinstein, right? Like Epstein, like Ghislaine Maxwell, here's one guy, the tapes, the evidence, the forensics.
Stick around. We've got more coming up with Jaco Booyens. But first, I want to tell you about my partners at American Alternative. Markets are experiencing extreme volatility right now. They've got these brief rallies and then they're quickly erased by sharp sell-offs. And the dollar continues to weaken on the international markets, but gold has surged to new all-time record highs. Wall Street analysts are always warning of persistent market stress and advising their biggest clients to seek safety now. When markets swing this violently, your retirement savings are actually really vulnerable. And it's during these uncertain times that people need stable assets. For thousands of years, that asset has been gold. And that's why I'm proud to endorse American Alternative Assets. They take a different approach to precious metals. They get to know you, they get to know your family and your needs. And they know that precious metals protection is not for everyone. That's why they only work with people they know they can help. They provide these quarterly check-ins to ensure their strategy stays on track, and 30% of their customers return and refer friends and family. American Alternative Assets is offering our listeners a free wealth protection guide and up to 5% bonus on your first purchase. So call today. It's 877-522-GOLD, or you can visit tudorsgold.com right now. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your wealth and secure your future right now. Again, it's 877-522-GOLD or visit tudorsgold.com. Now stay tuned. We've got more after this. We have a more accepting culture. You see Bonnie Blue out there buying her brand new Lamborghini or whatever it is because she's had sex with all these men, and it's glorified and it's on social media and people are interviewing her. I mean, that's the bizarre part to me. They have people interviewing the Tate brothers. Like there's some, oh, look at what they've done. Look at all the money they've made. And it wasn't bad. These girls were just on video. They didn't have to do anything horrible. No, this is awful. These guys are awful, but culture is starting to accept this. And you know what they say, that as culture goes, law is adjusted to culture. This is a culture we cannot adjust to.
Tudor, it's a spiritual war. We are in a crisis. Our country, it's a national emergency. You know, we did 90 years of study on the work of Alfred Kinsey and Fritz Belusek and the sexual revolution in America and comprehensive sex ed, 90-year study from 1933. This has been a very slow, progressive fade into oblivion where now the church is normalizing pornography to a degree. We are losing this battle because here's the reality. We're Americans that cry and say, sex trafficking is evil. We're the #1 nation demanding the trafficking of children. America buys more children than any other nation on earth. So the very ones that say stop it is not willing to stop their own actions, cancel their porn accounts. What, 80 million OnlyFans accounts in America? We now are rescuing girls. There's no trafficker, Tudor. She's trafficking herself because culture told her the gig economy, when you leave high school until you're 25, make as much money as you can. It's not going to affect your future. Sleep with anybody, sell your body, traffic yourself, and we promise your life is going to all come together later. And then they make $4 million. There's girls that make $4 million a month.
You just reminded me of something that I haven't thought about since this kid said this to me. But in the moment, I was so shocked. When I was campaigning, I had a young boy, a teenager. I think he was still in high school, but he might have been in college. And he said, right now, we're just lucky if we can find a girl that hasn't been on OnlyFans.
That's right.
And I was like,
Right.
what? I was totally stunned. He said, the problem is they can make so much money on OnlyFans. And then you feel like that's not really your girlfriend because
Not.
she's been everybody's girlfriend.
Tudor, go to any college campus with me right now. Any. Pick it and I'll go with you, right? And we walk on campus and you stop any girl and say, what's your body count? We're not talking about killing people. This is not Hillary Clinton body count, right? We're talking about sexual partners body count. Do you know that the girls, if you ask a guy what's your body count and the guy says 5, the girls go, oh, he's a loser. They want
What?
guys with high body counts because they think they're landing the whale and it's this guy and it's this honor badge. You've got OnlyFans recruiting on college campuses. They have booths. Culturally, we are in trouble. Because
you and I have talked about the
Yeah.
importance of an intimate relationship with a partner and what that does for you spiritually and that connection, but what that can also rob from you if you don't understand that every time you have a sexual relationship, there is a part of your soul that is connected to that sexual relationship. And I just think there are people that don't believe that or they don't understand that. They don't understand that until it's too late. And you cannot tell me that there are any people, but especially women, that can just give themselves away time and time again and feel nothing.
It's not that, well, they disassociate for the moment. God's given us an incredible brain where you can disassociate, just like a mother that's in the middle of labor, 5 minutes after she's delivered a child with incredible pain, she's willing to do it again. You can disassociate, right? But it comes back because sexual trauma, and it's trauma, it comes back and it creeps up on you. When you start looking at the suicide rate, when you start looking at correlated with the divorce rate, correlated then all of a sudden with this whole double income and no kids economy, looking at America dipping below 1.8% of birth rate, this is it. And now you're looking at numbers such as more young Gen Z Christian men converting to Christianity, more young Gen Z men converting to Christianity than women for the first time in history. More Bibles bought by men than women, because the men are saying, "Dear God, where's a girl that hasn't been a train station? Who do I want to mother my children?" And then you have people who we used to call friends, Tudor, who will have Andrew Tate on their podcast because they get the likes. And I say, stop it.
That's shocking to me.
Why are you giving a quasi-alleged trafficker a platform in America because he happened to vote for the same president as you?
We have talked about that so many times. How can we ever say that's okay? How can our side ever give a platform to someone like that? I met with someone recently who told me a woman in their church came to them and said, you know what? Every woman in my family, back to my grandmother, when they graduated high school, they were put on an antidepressant, and that has just been our life, our whole lives, and we've had trouble connecting, and I don't know how to be a good Christian wife. And there are people who will listen to that statement and go, oh my gosh, yeah, Handmaid's Tale, all of that baloney. But what she meant by that is, I just want to be able to be a partner to my husband. And I don't know how to do that because we have been told not to feel. We have been told not to care. This is a culture that has started with anytime you feel any type of pain or anxiety or anything, you are to numb that and move on. And that, I think, is a way that they can get these girls into this. You put them on a medical, on some sort of a med, and you numb them and you tell them, make a lot of money, do this, do that. And nothing matters anymore.
Yeah, I know the spiritual connection to it, and this is where the people numbers don't lie. When you start walking with us and we show you the real numbers of what success looks like and failure looks like, the amount of lives just destroyed. Someone like Bonnie Blue, the demonic spiritual portals that she's opened into her life by sleeping with 1,000 guys, she can never get it back. It will catch up with her. Her 16, 17-year-old son or daughter one day, because it's forever. Once you put these shows out in the ether, they're there forever. We've got this Take It Down act with Ted Cruz trying to get pornographic images down from Facebook and from Instagram. It's forever. I wish someone can speak into these young women and start, we do, but more, the church saying, listen, your identity as a child of God, you got to defend with your life. You cannot give it up. Not for some guy. And now that the men are crying out saying, where are the girls? We can't find anybody. That's shocking.
That is the most fascinating part about this to me, is that to be honest, no offense, but for a long time, these men stood by and said, yeah,
100%.
let these women be wild. Let
Yes.
them put these videos out. I'll tune in. I'll watch. I think this is fascinating, until suddenly it became so pervasive in culture. It became such a popular thing to do that there were no women left for them. They were okay with watching some other guy's girl or some woman that didn't have connection to them. But when it came down to the fact that they started looking for that forever person, for that life partner, to raise children with, there was no one left.
They used to be able to find Snow White. They used to be able to find a virgin or someone who has a moral compass. And now it's like their sister, but not my sister. Now it's a problem. And if you really think about it, let me put it to you this way. Evil could not in 2015 ask this country, what is a woman? Because the country would have responded with an obvious response, right? It's chipping away at the iceberg. But in 2023, the time was right. And they knew that the men wouldn't defend the women, that the men had been emasculated because the men through the 80s, 90s, and 2000 exploited the women, objectified the women, to a point where the women said, now we don't need any men. We'll exploit ourselves and call it empowerment. We'll take power back. And then culture asked, well, then what is a woman? And America sat lame duck. Really, because when you ask a guy what's a woman, he should bow up and say, you're talking about my mom or my sister? Culture I come from in Africa, those are someone's going to the doctor with a broken jaw. You don't talk about my mom or my sister or the daughters in our community like that. You don't question their identity or who they are. And the country struggled. The church struggled to have a clear, succinct answer. Simple. She's born with a womb. She's a woman. That's it. You can't slap on breast and lactate fake and do none of that. But the country struggled because morality had been beaten down so much and so normalized that more people are partaking, drinking from the poison well, than one's willing to fight it.
Well, that takes me to what is going on in South Africa, because you talked about your homeland and where you came from, and how that has changed, and it's become very dangerous. And just this week, or this past week, the president came out and said he's going to take refugees in from South Africa, which caused a big hullabaloo amongst liberals who said that this is racist. And I actually know a person that I was telling you put a message out on Facebook like, I wish I had a KKK emoji right now because this is so racist. But to me, you said something about if you dance with the devil, eventually you start speaking their language. And no part of me believes that this person is a genuinely bad person. I think this person has been sucked into this culture of immediate assumptions about people. And that in and of itself is the funny thing. That's racist. You know, that is exactly what they say they're against, but immediately, like, these people don't deserve it as much as other people do. Tell us a little bit about why they do.
Yeah, look, you got to go back to Genesis and what Satan told Eve. The great accuser is actually the one that lives in envy and jealousy, and so you will start sounding like him if you listen to them enough. South Africa, quick history lesson, 1994, I'm a senior in high school. Happens to be the year my sister is trafficked. Our country's on the brink of civil war. We're told we're going to go to civil war. There's a hope that maybe we don't. Nelson Mandela comes out of prison. We don't go to civil war. A nation comes together. Immediately, the ANC starts working against him. Immediately. The second Nelson left, Thabo Mbeki, up now to Cyril Ramaphosa, they're communist. You understand that That party, the ANC, is part of the BRICS coalition. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They bow to China. So this same woman that's saying what she's saying, you do not know what she's talking about. It's genocidal cleansing that's happening in South Africa. Not now, for the last decade, 12 years. I told you, if I may share this, off the air, friends of ours, my 97-year-old grandmother was raped by 5 people, savagely beaten. They have boiled friends of ours where their skin came off their body. Violent hate crimes, white farmers, senseless crimes, absolutely senseless. You got Julius Malema running in the street, says, kill the Boer. I'm a Boer, an Afrikaner. That's my language. Kill the Boer, kill the farmer. Okay. White people have always been the minority. It's always been about 17 to 24 to 1 on a skin tone differentiator, right? It's always been the minority. Yes, apartheid was awful, so it fell. Beautiful that racist regime fell, but these people don't know what they're talking about. When you go to South Africa, American can learn a lot from South Africa on how to actually deal with race relations, but there's these sects, the EFF, Julius Malema, that is a flat-out racist that literally advocates for killing whites. So does Cyril Ramaphosa, the president. This is irrefutable. What I want to happen, I called my friends in South Africa and said, send me, I did a show with Glenn Beck, and I'll send it to you. I'll send you images of the farm murders. Bodies laying in blood. Okay? Limbs cut off. It's gruesome. My family sends me a video of an animal running down the street with a limb in its mouth. Okay, this is savage, savage. And America turns a blind eye because it cannot get over itself that racism has nothing to do with skin color. Racism is a heart posture according to the word of God. If one man looks at another man, if he's black, white, pink, a dolphin, a smurf, I don't care, and he goes, that man has no value in my eyes, in my heart. I'm greater than him. I am profiling. It's not a skin color issue. Yes, it's racist in South Africa. It's unbelievably racist. But it's racist to profile all white people that are coming into this country going, they're racist. I was raised by a single mother who literally was jailed in 1990 because she wouldn't teach in her classroom as a teacher because it was an all-white school until they integrated black kids into her classroom. This notion that all white people from South Africa are racist is fabricated, factually inaccurate. It's just not true. So, and that by default is racist.
Stay tuned for more of my conversation with Jaco Booyens, but first, let's talk about my partners at IFCJ. Most of us go to bed not thinking about what goes bump in the night. We climb into bed, turn off the lights, and sleep in relative safety. But the people of Israel, they face nonstop threats on 7 different fronts. They do have a red alert system to warn them of incoming attacks, and last month, red alerts blared nearly 50 times every single day. Can you even imagine that? The toll on the families, I can't really imagine what that would be like for my kids. And it's first responders. It's just brutal. Right now, Israel's first responders face an urgent need. Life-saving supplies are running low, and that's why the work of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is so critical. Your gift of only $150 will help provide first responders with helmets, flak jackets, medical rescue bags, and armored service vehicles to keep people alive. Your gift is urgently needed, so call today. It's 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-4325. Or you can go online to give at ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org. Now stay tuned. We've got more after this. So what has it been like? You work closely with this administration. The administration has decided to make this pledge to bring people to the United States. I know that I'm sure there are folks that are saying, oh, this is Elon Musk and this is his control. But you have seen, even in the sex trafficking work, you have seen an administration that looks at the person, not at the political argument.
Tudor, I will tell you that is absolutely true, even more so than POTUS 45. It's a different man. And look, I voted for him then, and I served on the Anti-Trafficking Council then. This is a different man. This is a man now. And I was in the White House yesterday. I've been there 3 times this week. I'm speaking firsthand experience. There's a different culture in this administration. It's a collaborative culture about people matter. People, this nation, the Constitution, the Word of God, freedom, prosperity, regardless of race, color, gender, creed. It's not discussed. It's never discussed. Is there a people that is oppressed? Is there a people that need our help? Is there a people? And does South African Caucasians need help at this moment? They're being slaughtered. Yes, they need help. But you have a president at the same time when they say, oh, this is white orange man bad, and he's just favoring white South Africans, in the same week as that first 40 or something South Africans land, he's doing $1.4 trillion deals with Arabs in the desert who are not white, who are not Christian, who are Muslim. They don't even believe what our founding fathers believed, and our Constitution is drafted off of the Word of God. So it is asinine what people are accusing him of, that it's just favored to the white man. Factually inaccurate.
It's just whatever he does is not going to be accepted. I mean, you talk about him going over to the Middle East. There was this talk of the jet that the people of Qatar wanted to give to him. There was this, backlash, immediate backlash from the Democrats. There are a few Democrats that have come out and said what he's done in the Middle East has been historic. He's gone so fast. He's been able to be a part of their culture. He's been able to have these meetings, these dinners. This has been something we haven't seen. I think the jet is actually kind of a metaphor for him as president. Whether or not he takes the jet, he is going to say, thank you. Thank you for bringing me into your culture. It's a test. He understands this. This is not somebody who's going to be weak. He's not going to make a mistake. He is going to pass the test to go in there and join with them, have that conversation. If the Qataris say, we want to give you a jet on the first day of his trip to the Middle East, and he goes, you know what? I think that you guys are bad guys. I still don't trust you. I want nothing to do with that. The trip is over.
He's actually displaying diplomacy at a level that this country has not seen. This week, I sat in the room that the Abraham Accords was drawn up. And I don't know that Americans understand that he is bringing Arabs to the table to sign the Abraham Accords. We're talking about peace to the Middle East. We're talking about delivering unbelievably destructive blows to Iran and some of the proposed nuclear powers around the world. This is unprecedented what he's doing. One, you can never be wrong with leading with honor, right? And you're right. If on day one he slides them in the face and say, "I'm not taking your jet," how meticulously did he deflect that spiked coffee?
Yes, that's. I mean, if you didn't see that, it was incredible.
Masterful, because I've never had alcohol in my life, nor has POTUS. And he didn't slight them. He didn't embarrass them in their culture. He didn't. He took it. He spoke to Mohammed bin Salman, reached over and in conversation just put it down. No big deal. We got bigger things going on here. I mean, last time I checked, we accepted the Statue of Liberty from the French.
Right.
As a gift.
This is the part where I was just speaking to somebody about this. We've gotten to this place in politics that is so black and white. You are either on my side or you are on the other side, that people literally say, you can't cross the aisle. You can't vote for something that you think is right. We had the representative who said he doesn't think that boys should be in girls' sports. When it came down to vote for it, he absolutely voted for boys to be in girls' sports, because he says in his own party, you cannot go against what the party line is. Even if 90% of the country says vote this way, they will not. They are not for the person. And that's the difference I think you are saying with this administration. This administration is for the American person. They look at people individually. They try to figure out exactly what is right for the entire group. What is the next best step forward to take care of the American people? And that hasn't been the Republican Party in the past. And that certainly is not the Democrat Party right now. And that's why you see this massive fight for people to say, look, this group of Trump Republicans, and you can call them MAGA Republicans, They are a different breed because they are shirking the system and saying, we're done with the system of lobbyists and people playing their money to get what they want. This is about taking care of the American people.
It's about time that K Street loses its power.
Yeah.
Which is the lobby, K Street, right? It's about time that we just go make deals that's good for America. That's it. I mean, Boeing as a company was struggling. Let's be real. Boeing has not had great press. They just sold 160 airplanes. They'd never seen that before. American business is going to boom. When you put the American person first, which is his job is not to put Ukraine first.
Right.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Do we want Ukrainian soldiers to die? No, he's well recorded for saying, I don't want them to die, but we're not going to put them first. The Middle East, it's about America first. He's very dear friend, a guy named Rudy, who deals with counterterrorism, saying, Jaco, I've never seen a season like this, where we're actually doing everything we can with the American human being in front of us. What's best for the American citizen? Not even just the country at large. No, individual Americans. What is going to be good for Americans? And so it is an unprecedented time. Look, the clock is ticking. We don't know how much time we have. The midterms are coming. They're going to prop up Hakeem Jeffries and try and get Mike Johnson off his seat because they, by hook or crook, if they can't get the judges to make him lame duck, they're going to try, right? And now finally, some of the judges are in their right mind and allow the Constitution to be the Constitution. But this is a season where each individual American has to take charge of their own home. They can't just say, Donald Trump, go do it. Because as good as the deals with the Qataris and the Arabs are, that doesn't get your 12-year-old son off of porn. That doesn't get your daughter who's talking to a predator on Instagram help. We have to, Scripture, Tudor, says, for me and my house, serve the Lord. If enough me and my houses serve the Lord, we will be a Christian nation and we will be a strong country. So parents have to now take inventory at home to say, where has the enemy come into my house? In my speech, in my thinking, in my child's life, in abandonment, pornography, immorality, and get it out of your house.
Yeah.
Take ownership over your home.
And Donald Trump, I believe, is creating a country, reforming, reshaping this country to give parents more ability to do that. There's investment, there are going to be good jobs, there will be less stress when these people feel more secure and they can focus on their families. And that to me is what all politicians should be looking at. Okay, my job is really to make sure your life is better. Whatever,
100%.
You don't have to worry about roads, you don't have to worry about this. I'm not going to take your money to build a new cricket field. I want to make sure I am using your money wisely and you're using the majority of your money, that you are less stressed so you can be present. And that's what I think Donald Trump is doing. And I appreciate that is what you are working on with him, and that for the bad guys out there, you're working to protect them. And honestly, I don't know why you don't come on this podcast more often, because it's so fun to talk to you.
Yeah, you're fun, and you just nailed it. Elected by the people, for the people, serving the people. You nailed it. Making Americans' lives easier. Yeah, and that's and a tactile fashion that looks like RFK Jr. getting fluoride out of the water. It looks like him getting red dye 5 out of it. Well, what does that matter? How much time has been spent in the last 4 years by moms fighting school systems? They're not supposed to have to invest 25 hours a week to fight a demonic curriculum.
Right.
That's not their job. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. I mean,
make your job easier. Help these kids learn to read. If kids can read, they don't end up in jail.
And it's not just Trump. It's the White House Faith Office. It is from Paula White to J.D. Vance. I was in J.D. Vance's office the other day. His staff is unbelievable. J.D. Vance, Vice President Vance's staff, is rock star status. I mean, there's a girl named Hannah there. She is kicking butt and taking names. They're taking territory for the American family. It's incredible.
I love it. I love it. And I love having you on. Jaco Booyens, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Tudor.
And thank you all for joining us on the Tudor Dixon Podcast. For this episode and others, go to TudorDixonPodcast.com or the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure you join us next time. Have a blessed day.